Now, somebody who helped wake me up about the real Islamicist threat is the man that's joining us right now, Tommy Robinson, because I remember seeing him in articles 10 years ago about they're grooming young girls, the Muslims are taking over the police and the social workers and the town councils, and it's an Islamicist takeover. And I was like, oh, that's another nut like David Horowitz. Well, 10 years later, it's all come true in spades. And I've got stacks of news right here dealing with it. The Sunday Express, Rotherham abuse scandal, horrified reality of industrial scale child grooming. Was Robinson saying that 10 years ago? And countless videos of him being physically attacked, and I should add fighting back. This came out, Christian child forced into Muslim foster care, the Times of London last week. So the new spin is, yes, her mother's Christian. Yes, they took the cross from her, but maybe she's got some Muslim family or something, you know, grandparents. Oh, but they wouldn't give her to the grandparents who were Christian. So what this is somebody in a Christian family, I guess, being sucked back into the cult by folks that aren't her family. But the issue here is Tommy Robinson spearheaded all of this, exposing it, and founded the English Defense League. And then when it turned out some racist got involved in that, he left it, he disavowed it, and now he has these big unity marches of every race, color, creed. It's just beautiful. He's a major leader now in the UK. TommyRobinson.co.uk. He also has worked with the Rebel Media. Again, he is just an amazing individual, and he joins us to give us the state of this war, because every day in the back of the news, more stabbings, more truck attacks, more shootings, more bombings, to where now you can have 15 people run over and die, 200 injured, and the next day it's out of the news. But then you get one white supremacist ding-dong running over somebody and killing them. It's the end of the world. And, you know, Trump's the devil and the Antifa's good and communists are out beating everybody up. But now the Democrats are backing off. So it seems like there's a real battle. We know there is. But the pendulum may be starting to swing back the other way, because people like Tommy Robinson and people like the last fellow we had on are forcing these rats out in the open to really say what they believe. I saw a big example out of Europe last night, and another one out of England, where they've got the refugees raping people. And then the leader of a refugee group in Italy said, well, once you stick your ding-a-ling, he actually used that term, use these weird terms, in them, then they like it, then they need it, and it's good under Islam to rape women. And then they're defending the refugee coordinator. I mean, because they're literally, like, in Spain, in Italy, raping people in broad daylight, folks. Because Europeans are so genteel on average. They're just like, what's going on? Whether it's Spain or England, they just sit there while, you know, it's like people come in with knives, start stabbing everybody. Only one guy out of 100 goes, screw you, this is England, I'm going to kick your ass. And one guy basically fought him off, getting stabbed like 14 times. I mean, where are the people like that? Tommy Robinson to give us the state of the ongoing Islamic invasion. But it seems like humanity's kind of coming out of their days a little bit, and that we're not on the mat anymore. Is that true?
I've just come back off a 2-week holiday. During that 2 weeks, there's been 7 terrorist attacks in Europe. That's when, so that's in a 2-week period. So, and that's now. And obviously, as we go on each year, we see terrorism increasing by 60%. So people have to ask themselves, which is where I don't understand what's going on with the European men, or even European women, what's going on with people, to think, where is this heading? Where is this going? If we go back through each year, it gets worse and worse. And things like, I always say, Alex, in my hometown of Luton, which is now, we have over 30 mosques. We had just, you know, the attack this week at Buckingham Palace, where the Muslim jumped out of his Uber taxi with a sword shouting Allah Akbar, trying to behead police officers outside our Queen's home. He was from Luton again. He was from my hometown again. Yeah? Fertiliser bomb plot, Stockholm bomber, an attack last year to behead an American soldier in the UK. Multiple attacks all coming out, all the time coming out of Luton. So I always say, if you'd have said to people in Luton 30 years ago, if you'd have said to them at that time, in 30 years, in this town, every single food outlet in the city centre would be halal. Your soldiers will get attacked on their homecoming parade. The emblem of your country will be banned on your national day from all premises. Terrorist attack after terrorist attack after terrorist attack will be plotted from this hometown. there would be 30 mosques. 40% of the town will be Muslim. It will be the home to Al-Mujahideen, one of the world's most extreme terrorist organisations. If you'd have said that 30 years ago to Lutonians, men and women in Luton, they'd have said you're mad. Now that's happened in 30 years. So what I always say to America and people in America, like that. It happens like that. I know of my home cities. I look at one area, say an estate called Farley Hill, where all of a sudden it was a white working class estate. And like that, within 5 years, it's like, what's happened here? And it gets so bad so quick. And that's how, and that's why I say, but when you hear us saying, this will happen, we will see conflict, we will see Sharia, and people at the minute may say you're mad. In 30 years' time, what will they then think is mad? And that's the reality of where we're heading. And
you explain how it's formulaic. The Muslims know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. They are working hand in hand so well. For example, if I bring you to the city of Manchester, Manchester was the city that had where the Ariana Grande concert was attacked. Now, in that city, we have an extremist radical group called MEND. Now, MEND, we have pictured working with the Labour Party, the equivalent of your Democrats. Now, I follow all the organisations and the people from MEND, which is a radical jihadist group. Now, MEND, one of their key speakers was speaking in a mosque in Greater Manchester. Through the transcripts of his speech, he said, every political party will work with us. We now swing the vote, the Muslim community, we swing the vote of up to 30 seats in Parliament. Do you understand how powerful that is? That's what he was saying to the congregation of the mosque. Now, we recently had an election. Labour recently won 30 seats. This is where you will realise, and this is what your people have to realise, and the Democrats probably do realise it. This is what we realise is that we, as a young non-Muslim English man in my hometown, we're irrelevant. We're irrelevant because we have the Luton Council of Mosques, and we have one man in charge of 30 mosques who sits down with our Labour Council. They get their vote upon agreement for the backhand deals. We'll give you this, we'll give you that, we'll let you do this, we'll let you do that. You vote.
And that's because Islamic countries are horrible nightmare failures because it all runs according to slavery. The women don't drive, they don't talk. Only there's a boss over every neighborhood, a boss over every town. And if you don't, they say you violated Islamic law and cut your head off. And that cancer is now here, and the Democrats know it. They've decided to sell out to it. But so is McMaster. It's turned out that he definitely is being controlled by Brennan and Clapper. And it's totally clear that they won't even allow anybody to say radical Islamic stuff exists. The former FBI director Mueller had it taken out of the FBI database. Islamic terror does not exist. It's only 99+% of all terror, but according to the FBI, does not exist. Where is their power coming from? Why are they so incredible? Is it because they are a unified cult?
They're unified. The Labour Party would have no future, which is our left-wing party in the UK, without the Muslim community. Now, they see the demographical change that's coming. They see the average of 5.6 children from the Muslim household, 1.3 for the non-Muslim household. All they care about is regaining power in towns and cities. They don't care about destroying.
And the Sikhs have been fighting them. The Sikhs that you're friends with and speak with, they've been fighting them from India, and of course they're a big part of the British military for 1,000 years. What do they say needs to be done?
Well, this is vote. When I looked to India, it's where I learned of the term vote bank politics, because they're vote banks, Muslim bloc vote bank, which is exactly. And I was watching years ago and listened to Indians talking about what's happened in their country, exactly what's happening here. And when the Sikhs are the most integrated and patriotic group of minority group we've had in this country. They're loyal, they're faithful, they're respectful, and they have been battling, and they've been targeted in every way as well. And they've been battling, and still, and they get brushed to the side. You know why they get brushed to the side by the government? There's only 500,000 of them, and they're not reproducing at an incredible rate that's 10 times of ours. So they don't play that much of a hold in any future political demographic for the Labour Party or for any of the political parties. So they're not that relevant in keeping power, whereas the Islamic community are, which is why they're pandered to, they're bowed to, and we're pushed to the side. And that's the one thing that Americans need to realise of how quickly this will happen to your town and city. I'm sure in cities like Dearborn, you're already seeing these sort of the problems that are stemming. But the problems we see, as you've just been speaking about, we'll get on to when
well, I've been called by, off record by big, powerful organizations, and they said, look, you're going to be destroyed. And they go, is this off record conversation? Yeah, it is. Just leave the Muslims alone and, basically, abandon Trump and leave the Muslims alone. And we will basically leave you alone. And I'm like, wow. And then you realize they are literally on the payroll.
Oh, they're on the payroll. Yeah, they're working with them. Completely working with them. It's a complete coalition. And that's the one thing that I'd more than anything, because I've watched Luton, again, I'll just always bring it back to Luton. I've watched the Labour Party. What they do is they don't elect a Muslim. They don't elect a Muslim.
They open a puppet.
They elect a puppet. Every time they elect a puppet. Whether it be in Luton, most recently, when I was looking into Oldham, these different places, they elect a puppet, a left-wing, Labour. When it comes to America, this will be a Democrat who will do everything they want. Jeremy Corbyn is a complete puppet for them. So they elect people. They don't elect their own. They don't start their own political party. They just infiltrate yours. And then they elect someone that will do everything they have, whether they have dirt on them or whether they're just working for them, whether they see a coalition of Marxism, communism, working with Islam in order to bring back or to start again, then that's what we see. And I've watched that my entire life. I've watched the way the Labour Party work, and I've seen the destruction caused to our town.
Tommy Robinson, let's talk about how we stop it straight ahead. Tommy Robinson is our guest, tommyrobinson.co.uk. He's a best-selling author of Enemy of the State. And again, I'm a classically liberal person. I've studied Islam. I've studied history. I know that Islam's gone through different phases, but in the last 1,400 years, it's taken over more of the planet than the British Empire ever did. The British Empire had its problems, but it would bring aqueducts and cities and buildings and medicine and civilization to China, you name it, everywhere. Islam brings slums and enslavement and just horrible oppression, and women are treated like animals. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, look at Turkey, the Blue Mosque. That's a church, folks. So I'm so sick of hearing, soon we're going to hear, that Muslims built the pyramids or something, okay? I mean, I'm not trying to attack Muslims. I can't go to any Muslim country and live, okay, and get outside my little controlled area, and that's in a few countries. So, Tommy, this is an existential threat, and I've got 3 daughters. I guess a lot of men join Islam. A lot of white folks are joining because they can be thugs. They can, have slaves. Here's the deal. Death before dishonor. I understand they're coming after me. I am committed. What do I do to stop the takeover of Islam? What do I do? Because you're the general, buddy. You're the guy out of anybody out there that's been the most on target and has the most energy. What do we do?
You see, I always question that myself. I think a lot of people do. What can we do? Like, what can we do as ordinary men? What can we do? And I always just say what my role would be, and or what I see my role is. I see my role as just speaking, enlightening, awakening people, educating people, highlighting. What we need is the entire British public, the entire American public, to understand what Islam is. Not this, Islam's not the same as Sikhism, Judaism, Hinduism. It's completely separate. They need to understand who Muhammad was. We need to understand the life of Muhammad, the kind of man that 4 million Muslims in the UK hold up as a moral compass. We need to understand the horrendous acts he committed, the violence he committed, the murders he committed, the rape he committed, his opposition to free speech, his opposition to gay. We need to understand who he was. Because currently what we have is an education system which is completely lying. They're completely lying to the children. The whole next generation of children are being brought up. I've told you this example before. I'll give you it again. My daughter was 7 years old. At this time, because of everything I had going on myself, I hadn't had and didn't want to have those conversations with my children. I want my children to continue being children. Yeah, these are politics that they shouldn't have to know about. Now I'm sitting there with the book out. It's the biography of Muhammad because I'm practicing and researching for a debate. Now my daughter walked past and said, "Muhammad, peace be upon him." I said, "What did you just say?" And she said, "Muhammad, you have to say peace be upon him." I said, "Well, who's told you that? Who has told you that?" School. Okay? The school have told you have to say Muhammad, peace be upon him. And this is where it gets me, because in the UK, every single child, as part of our national curriculum, they now have to visit the mosque. And what they do is they go on this it's a school trip, fun day out, where they get sent letters saying they have to cover their arms, they have to dress a certain way.
And now it's happening here in the U.S., and they're getting into the curriculum everywhere. How are they getting them to do this?
They say it's multi-faith. It's about educating about the faiths, okay? Fine. You bring my children to a mosque, you stand them up with an imam who's 50 or 60 years old, and you tell them that he married a child their age. You tell them that he raped her. You give them the facts about what he did. You don't bring them into that mosque and tell them it's an important spiritual place. You know, because what you're doing is you're lying. You're not giving, so you're bringing our children into these buildings.
And I've also read they're not taking them to churches. Stay right there. Let's do 5 more minutes, and I got to get you on more often because it's too important. But it just hit me looking at your face and listening to you, because you come across as truthful, and people know that, plus you've been proven right. Tommy, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I want to warn you on the other side of this break, because I can guarantee you they're going to kill you very, very soon. That's not a curse. It's a warning. It just hit me. You've got to protect yourself. Me too, but it just hit me. We're back in 70 seconds, folks. They're going to kill Tommy Robinson. I just know it. They're going to walk right up and stab him with a butcher knife. Okay, folks, we're back live. Final segment with Tommy Robinson. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I was sitting there, if you're a radio listener, you can't see it, looking at him talk so sincerely and with truth on the big screen, and I just realized they're going to kill him. Like they've killed so many other leaders in Europe that speak out against the cancer that is political Islam, that's the biggest threat to people that are under Islam themselves. He said, no, you're absolutely right. Don't forget, I was locked up for years in prison and tortured by these people. So, Tommy, let's speak to that and what you're doing for your security, because I know you boldly get out there. They physically attack you. You fight back. But I'm telling you, you're beating them so bad. I've done the calculus. They want to kill you. TommyRobinson.com. Go ahead.
Alex, you know, like my new book, Muhammad's Quran, Why Muslims Kill for Islam, I think this is a game changer. I think that looking back in a few years' time, this will be the biggest book awakening people on Islam, yeah? Now, it's the Quran in chronological order. It gives all the history. But when Muhammad's Quran, Why Muslims Kill for Islam, with blood all over the front page, went to Amazon #1 bestseller. It's been the best-selling Quran in the world for 4 weeks. I'm fully aware how much they're going to want to kill me. I'm fully aware of how much. But you know
I didn't realize it was that big a seller. Incredible. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it sold out in the UK. It went to Amazon #1 bestseller for 5 days, and it sold out. I think in America, because bearing in mind, I've had no publisher. I literally just put it on Amazon and tweeted it. It went to number 40 in America. Yeah, it went to number 40 book in America. We've got no publisher. That's just self-published, us putting it online. Now, it sold out. It went to #1 for 5 days. It sold out. It's been the #1. If you read the comments, and again, I take so much satisfaction. You know, if they do kill me, and this is a message to any Muslim watching this that's planning on killing me, you will create the best-selling Quran that is going to awaken every single person to what your ideology is. So I will die a happy man, knowing that the minute I die, people will know it's for writing that book, and they'll know it's for taking a stand, and they will educate themselves so much on your book. And then, and only then, will we see an uprising in the British public, we'll see an uprising in the people, and we'll see what I'd say is a revolution against this. So I take that, and Alex, as I said, I don't sit here and say, oh, they're going to kill me. I'm fully aware of that, yeah? And I know that, if I'm honest, when I go back through the years, I've been doing this for so many years, I had a few bad years there trying to deal with that. The feeling of walking around with a terminal illness, which is how I felt, and the feeling of thinking that I should be hiding, and I'm a family man. I've got 3 beautiful young children. But at the same time, I know I'm right, which is what I always say to my family. It's always what I always say to my wife. It's what I always say to my parents. I'm right. Everything I'm saying is right. Now, at the moment, I may face a backlash, but in years to come, people will judge me right correctly. So I have no qualms about that, and I'm happy to walk that walk.
So you're asking, what do we do as men? And as we put ourselves in front of this, no matter what happens, and some of us will get killed, but we'll be real martyrs for the cause of true liberty and Christian freedom and everybody's freedom against this true cancer. And, you know, I'd seen that book was on the bestseller list and didn't read the fine print of who wrote it, Muhammad's Quran. I saw a few weeks ago it was the #1 book in the UK. Congratulations. And wow, what powerful work you're doing, my friend.
No, thanks. And yeah, and it's like, what we have to do is just speak the truth. That's all we have to do. That's all every person has to do. And the problem is, I understand because I've had everything thrown at me. So I understand if you're there, do you know how many people come up to me every day? They shake my hand and they say, I'd love to be vocally supportive of you, but my job. Do you know how many people, I'm going to try and interview one this week, who's at work, he put his views about Islam online, he gets called in for disciplinary, he says it, they say it's gross misconduct. This is what's going on at every single employer, at every company across the country. This is why the public are so, they whisper. It's like, come on, man. And that's why I think people take inspiration from. That's why I love watching that last man you just had on your show. The last gentleman you just had on your show. I love watching him. I love seeing it like we don't care. And that's
yeah, I saw you on the screen getting exciting hearing him because we're standing up against the bullying. If we don't, we're already under Sharia. TommyRobinson.com. I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Please come on next week.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.